So welcome to Basic Jewish Concepts, and we're starting with the Song of the Month on page 15 in my songbook, which is available on Amazon. Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar. Don't need your help for that. Okay, so now you want to do it one more time, or you want to move to the Pasha song?
One more time.
Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar Nisani Yasivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar. You do the high one. Let's do that again. Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar. Harmonies are great. Yeah, so you could do that other times too. Make a harmony. You're a good singer. You sit next to me, so that's good. And I can do the low while you do the high. That's something that's not so easy. I had to learn to do that. And that's a really, really good thing why I love harmony, because you have to learn to hold your place. This is like in life, while like connecting and harmonizing with someone else's place, without like, oh, it's only my place. Everyone has to do my place. Otherwise, like, they're wrong. Look, you can be right and I can be right. It goes together in a harmony, you know. But it's a little bit hard to sing, especially when you're in the lower, when someone else does the higher, because the higher kind of like takes over from the lower. But it's a really good exercise. It's a super good exercise. So I hope you know what I mean. Okay. Okay, so now we're doing the song of the Parashiot. It's in this green book, in the Tanakh, in the Bible. Yeah. We go through all the Parashiot. Now tell me, we only started not so long ago with Shmot, but are you starting to know it more by heart and helping you to find places in the Bible? It helps you to find places. The more you sing it, the more like it goes into your brain and it goes into your, you know, I don't know. We start with Shmot. All the Parashiot, all the top portions for each of the Parashiot in the book of Shmot. Shemot va'era bo b'chalach Yitzcho mishpatim Tchumat tzedza v'kitlisa Vayakel pekudei Shemot va'era bo b'chalach Yitzcho mishpatim Tchumat tzedza v'kitlisa Vayakel pekudei Shemot va'era bo b'shalach Yitzcho mishpatim Tchumat tzedza v'kitlisa Vayakel pekudei. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I kind of hesitated because you know, in Shmot it's oh no, I think I mixed it up actually. It's Va'era in Shmot and it's Va'yera in Bereshit, and I was like kind of hesitating about it, and I think I did it actually wrong, so I'm going to correct myself, and I just want to explain why it is what it is so that it's easier to remember. Okay, so Va'yera and shalom, va'era. What's the difference? You maybe know it. What's the difference between va'yera and va'era? It's two a parsha in Bereshit and a parsha in Shmot.
So and we'll see.
But what does it mean, va'yera?
See, like and they saw.
And it doesn't mean and because it is a verb that changes future to past. But what is the difference between va'yera and va'era? Who knows it?
No?
What did you say?
It's not will see and see?
No.
Aleph?
No, it's not about that. You know it?
No.
Does anyone in this room know it?
Vayera is like the book of revealed.
Okay, well, it's
Vayera.
no, it's past because the future is turned into past. Okay, so it's not will be. So what is the difference between these two? Both of them are in the same past tense. The vav, we call it flippy vav. It changes future to past. It is in a future form. If it was without the vav, it would be future form. But the vav changes it. Okay, this does a lot in the Bible, in the Tanakh. So, but what's the difference? Both of them are past because they both have the future form with the vav in front. But what's the difference? This is really important in simple grammar and the future tense. And I'll teach you how to remember it and learn it. I'm not going to go through all the whole grammar of future, which maybe it's good to learn it, but you could download it. But if you start with this one, va'era, it means I will be revealed. I revealed myself. I appeared. I appeared. Okay? Because how you remember it? Because the aleph is like ani. And the yud is like who. Because it has, well, I don't know. The yud is like, it means he. Okay? So here, this is he. And this is I. I appeared or he appeared. Okay? So now, which parsha is it vayera and which parsha is it va'era? It's very hard to hear the difference when you sing it. What do you think? In which book? In Bereshit? Do we have it? This one of them is in the book of what?
Bereshit is vayera.
Bereshit is vayera. Why? Because it's the narrator that speaks. Bereshit, like this. It's the book of Bereshit. Because it's the narrator that speaks and says, and Hashem appeared to Abraham. Right? That's how it goes. But here, who's speaking? Wait. No, I messed it up again. It's wrong. I am so sorry. Oops. I'm so sorry. I am under a lot of pressure and a big mess up with my book on Amazon. So please, I want to dedicate this class that this will work out on the Amazon. Okay, so here it's Bereshit. Bereshit, because it's the narrator that says he appeared to Abraham. That's Pasha's right. Bereshit Noach Lech Lecha Vayera. But here it's Shmot Va'era, and I sang it wrong. Why is it Va'era? Who's speaking here? Hashem is speaking to Moshe and saying, I appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with my name, with a different name. And now I'm appearing to you with the name Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's a higher name. So why are you complaining? But the main thing is, it's Hashem speaking to Moshe. So it's I appeared. Okay? So this is in the book of Shmot. Okay? Book. So I did it wrong because I got mixed up because all the mixed up stuff that I'm going through with all these technical problems at home. So I'm going to now sing it one more time with you with the right way. Okay? So remind me, what are we going to do?
Va'era.
Va'era. No!
Yeah?
Yes, Va'era. Shemot Va'era po beshalach Yitzro mishpati Tchumat tzeta v'kitiza today. Okay, so we did it now, right? I corrected myself. We learn from our mistakes.
Amen.
You do not have to worry about making mistakes, okay? In this class or in any other class, it says in the Gemara, "Ena baishan lomed." A shy person or person, it includes someone that's afraid to make mistakes, will not learn. And to be too shy to ask, that's a stupid question. Everyone probably knows that. If you're shy in that way, you will not learn. When I first came to Torah, all these 40 plus years ago, I asked everything that wasn't clear to me, and I still do. I'm not shy to ask the question, and that's how I learned. And that's how I learn. Everything I know is by asking questions. Sometimes I ask questions just like to myself, and I write down my question and I ask Hashem, why does it say this? And when I do that, answers come. Hashem helps. So it's really important to ask questions in learning. That's the Torah way. It's not like some schools I had some students in the past, I don't think I have any right now, that they went to very ultra-Orthodox schools, but they were not allowed to ask questions because it would look like they don't believe. So that's not the Torah way. The Torah way, you have to ask questions. Something not clear? Or something you feel like that's not sitting right with you? You asked it in a question, but ask it respectfully. Don't just that doesn't make sense, there's a way to ask. That's not a question anyway. That's not a question. So it has to be a question. So now let's look at the questions. Okay? So I think that's for me, all these questions. I'm so excited. As much as I love to ask questions, I also love to get questions. What should I do about men?
I think it's always in there.
Okay, about men, so the natural thing for anyone is, for not just Jews but everybody in the world, is to get married. That's the main thing you should do about men. You should get yourself ready to get married, which is work on yourself and your stories and your baggage, and if you need therapy, do therapy. If not, work on yourself to be a more sharing, giving person. Because it's not, so getting married is very central in the Torah, but it's how Hashem created the world. He created not the world with just one person. He says right away, first he created the man, but he says it's not good for the man to be alone. So he created the woman. The woman was already created with a man. Like the man was created alone, but the woman has never had any option to be alone. She was already created like married to Adam. So it's the natural state for women. We have a very difficult phenomenon in our world, older single women in our time, that we didn't have so much in the past as we have it now. It's almost like a pandemic, I would say, and that causes a lot of difficulty. Like naturally, if you mature the way we're supposed to mature, but we have a lot of mental problems today because we don't have so many physical problems. We do, but there are physical problems, but in the past, people were basically, it was like, how am I going to have food? I'm going to have food today, how am I going to have food tomorrow? Maybe some people still are in that place now, but in the past, it was like, how am I going to have money? The halachic question in the Shulchan Aruch, it was even not so long ago, in the 16th century, with Rabbi Yosef Karo, and there's a question: if you only have enough money to buy either wine or grape juice for kiddush or like oil for candles, what should you do? So I don't remember the answer, but I remember the question. I think the question is just incredible. I don't know anyone that would have that question today. Right. It's only a few hundred years after. It's an incredible, amazing question. Hello there. So that's what you should be. So this is very hard. So if you aren't married and you want to be, like, naturally, I would say, like, I got married when I was 20. It says that Adam and Chava, it says in the Midreshet, they were created 20. So Hashem tells you an age that's the natural time to get married. But today it's not. A lot of people are not ready to get married when they're 20. Like maybe half the people aren't even. I even wasn't ready to get married. It was just like Hashem did some kind of flunk with me, and I really don't think I was ready. I remember I have a picture of me with my baby at his Pidyon Haben. That's when he had the special ceremony that with the firstborn, if the firstborn is a son, and you didn't have a miscarriage before that, then really he's supposed to be serving as a firstborn in a temple. But since we don't have a temple, we have a whole ceremony where we buy back his freedom from serving from a Kohen. It's a whole ceremony with a meal, and it's a beautiful thing. And it says going to a Pidyon Haben, which means the redemption of a son, is greater than doing 80 fast. It's so much schut. What?
It talks about last week's parsha after the mark of the older sons died.
Yeah, good. So it's pertinent to what we've just been learning in the parsha. Thank you for pointing that out. So I wasn't going to talk about that. I was going to talk about, I had a friend, she looked at a picture of me with my baby at the Pidyon Haben, and she said, Tinoket, yolevet tinok. A baby is giving birth to a baby. Because I was young. I was 21 when I had him, and it was really young, but I'm really, really happy that I never had to go on all these dates that I see my students have to go through, and it's really challenging as Bella. Bella.
My great grandmother got married when she was 16.
My grandmother got married when
17.
And your mother at 17?
No, my great grandmother had my grandfather at 17.
Wow.
She got married at 16, and her mother got married at 12, and then had her first child at 15.
Right. So in the older time, it was very common that. Even just 100 years ago, 150 years ago, it was very common that the teenagers got married. The husband maybe would be 15 and the wife would be 12 or 13. And they would play together, and it was very, very cute. And they would stay with the parents. They would live with the parents. They had their own private something, but they stayed in the bigger house of their parents, and the parents would help take care, and the mother or the mother-in-law would show, the daughter or the daughter-in-law how to cook, how to take care of the baby, how to, all these things. It was a wonderful thing, and in a way, because today a lot of grandparents, they don't see their grandchildren hardly ever, and it was a beautiful thing. But okay, it's not suitable for our time. But 20, I hope we get back to that. That's how Hashem created the world. And but you have to be mature. So if you're not mature to get married, you have to work on yourself. I'm reading a book now, which is about the whole purpose why we're created and what our main tikkun is, that we should want to receive from the Creator in order to share. But it goes totally against human nature. Because human nature, naturally, we want to eat for ourselves, we want to sleep for ourselves, we want to receive that ability to sleep, the ability to eat, the ability to procreate for ourselves, not to share. That's, we think about ourselves naturally. So we have to go against our nature to be willing to change ourselves 180 degrees, to be always in this place of giving and it's a headspace. I'm receiving in order to share. It's not about me. I'm not the center of everything. So, but if we had abuse or neglect or all kind of other things in our past, which unfortunately the world is so crazy because we don't have to work in the same degree about our livelihood. So instead we make up questions in our mind and problems in our mind because we don't have the same amount of problems in the physical that we had then. So it's really a pandemic, not only single women, but pandemic of, I don't know if men also, but I especially know women of mental health issues at various degrees. I don't think it has ever been this high. I think I write about it in my Esther book. The statistics that I checked it out is so many times higher than it was 50 years ago and 100 years ago. And so and maybe you'll say, well, at that time people may be mentally ill, but they didn't have what to do about it, so they just suppressed it. But I also think it's because we're coming towards the Geula, the redemption, and we're fine-tuning all the we have to clean up all the generational traumas. It's now is the time that we're coming to when Hashem is going to circumcise our hearts. And so to circumcise the hearts, it's not obviously not open heart surgery, but it is about in the Torah, heart is connected to the mind. Like it's so, like we don't say, how do you call it, mental illness in the Torah? It's nafshi. It's so like machalat nafshi, or briut nafshit, health, like soul health. And the soul is a connection between the heart and the mind. So it's not just in the mind. It's that with the heart, it's the emotions together with the thoughts of the mind. And they're like the thoughts of the mind, affects the emotions affect the thoughts of the mind. So it's like a chicken, what do you call it, catch-22. And when we're in that place, we're not in a place that we're able to receive in order to share, because we have to deal with how to fix myself, like how to take care of my thoughts. And I'm so stuck with all that, and I cannot think about someone else. I'm so much in my own head and my own emotions that how I can think about letting someone else into my life. Yes, people like that get married, but they quickly get divorced. So that's not a good point, and that's not a good thing. You need to, so that this is the question: what to do about men. Someone wrote, what should I do about men? You should get, I don't know who wrote it, so it depends. So this is a question that depends who wrote it, what I would say to the person, what should you do? Like if I know that person has spiritual work and they're not ready to get married, I would say, you should work on this. But you will know yourself if you have what to work on. Most people do. I was just too young to even start with all the mental mess. So I was just like, well, not really, but I don't know. It was just like, I was lucky. What can I say? I could have been someone also in my 30s, like looking for a soulmate, and no one is good enough for me. And that's the problem. When you get older, you become more critical. Like when you're like 20, you don't really, okay, he looks good. He's nice. I have a nice time with him, But when you get older, you're like, what is he going to do for a living? You're not thinking about that at all. When I got married, what is he gonna? Well, he was a doctor when I married, so. But I didn't care about that. Like that wasn't my headspace when I was 20. So, but you get more critical and you get more set in your ways, and it becomes harder to adapt to another person. That's why I think it is ideal to get married when around 20. But that doesn't mean, and if you are more than 20 and you are not married, it doesn't mean, okay, you're lost soul. No. I know lots of people who got married in many different stages, in their 30s, in their 40s, and, in their late 20s. And Baruch Hashem, I know many people who are happy in their marriage, and they know why they couldn't get married before. Once they met that, sometimes you're ready, but he's not ready, So there's a lot of different things, and we don't know. So, about men, about marriage, we have to have a lot of emunah. Now this, is Amalek, is the same numerical value as Safek. What does this Safek mean? Doubt. Doubt is the opposite of emunah. And these are the thoughts that come up. And I have the same also. Like now I think maybe I had too much messed up, that now if I was going to try to get married, it would be very hard. So Hashem knew that, maybe, because like I have all these doubts that come up sometimes. It also, in the book that I'm reading, it says the closer you get to the light, the more the other side is trying to get you, and the best way they can get you is with doubt. So why is that? That is because the Baal Shem Tov has a mashal. And okay, you want to say something?
I want to ask a question.
So wait, so let me say why that is, and then you ask a question. So why is that? Because the Baal Shem Tov has a parable, and he says, if you want to visit the king, so you have to go through a lot of different gates and a lot of different sentries. Is that what you call it? The ones who stand, and the gatekeepers. And you have to show your papers, and you have to have in Hebrew we say ishurim. You have to have
Permission to come in.
permission to come in. So you go through different doors, and it takes a long time. And so, but when you're very close to the king, the inner, there's a lot more sentries, there's a lot more screening right before you get to the inner chamber of the king. And so that's like when you're closer to the light, there's going to be a lot more doubts. It's going to be a lot more, the other side is going to try to stop you from coming to the light by like blocking your way through doubts. Like, for example, you know, I have all these doubts, what's going to be in my tour, I don't have enough registrants in all the retreats, and what's going to be, soon the early bird is ending, and that keeps me up at night, but I have to have emunah, it's going to work out, Hashem knows exactly who's supposed to come. And so if you're, you know, it's very easy to get doubts if you're feeling like you're getting older and you tried so much to get married and it didn't happen yet, and it's easy to have a doubt, oh, what's going to be with me, am I ever going to get married, how I'm going to find someone that's compatible, and I'm so special, and is there someone else out there, maybe I don't even have a soulmate, like all these thoughts that can come up, because we're talking about what should I do about men. So now, Deanna, you have a question?
Yeah, I remember when I got married and I was doing the shomer thing, somebody told me that part of the role of the shomer is to be physically near her so that you can block those doubts and you can be blocking those, like, whatever is trying to pull the couple
Right,
apart.
that's right.
So I was wondering if there's some sort of a shomer that you can have, like, even when you're not getting married.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I want to just like talk a little bit more about what you said about, so because Chatan and a Kala, a groom and a bride, they're so close to the light. Like they're going to get married. This is like what Hashem created the world for, like that people should get married and raise families. That's how He created. And the first thing He says to Adam, you know, it's not good to be alone. And then after that He says, you know, be fruitful and multiply. That's what marriages are, you know, it's the highest thing. It's the first mitzvah in the Torah. Be fruitful and multiply. And so when they're so close to that light, there's going to be a lot of darkness trying to stop it. And that's one of the reasons why the bride and the groom separate for that week before marriage. It's not a law, it's not a halakha, but it's a custom, a minhag. Because if they were going to be meeting in that week, there's a lot more chance, God forbid, of a lot of fights and broken engagement. Because there's so much obstacles at that final week. And that includes, like you say, doubts. And that's also why, as you say, you know, a man should have a shomer, and the groom should have a shomer, and the bride should have a shomeret, which is someone that's with them all the time, helping them, and also to talk to and help assure them everything is going to be okay. So that was what you were sharing. And now sometimes we have the doubts, even if we're not a groom and I keep saying broom, a groom and a bride. So who can help assure us in our doubts? Now, does anyone have any idea? Yes, Esther?
Ourselves. We have to be able to assure ourselves. It's really important because you can't rely on someone else to give you the reassurance. You know, I mean, the week before marriage, someone will be there. When you're married, someone will be there, but, you know, it's not for sure that they're going to be able to really connect with you in that way that they can comfort you, you know?
So that's a very good point. Esther says, you have to be your own guard because you can't always rely on others. So, and you know, you're not going to always have somebody. So I want to comment on that. Yeah, I agree. And what I also do in Emunah healing often is people, they share with me their doubts and their problems, and I say, you know, these are like voices, claims. You know, these are claims against, you know, against doing Hashem's will. You need to find a counterclaim. You need to, you know the claims that always come, the same kind of voices to say, right, isn't that true, the same thing? So write them down. This is the voice that says, I'm no good, nobody loves me. I don't have friends, right? I don't know. Some people have these thoughts. True? Mm-hmm. And so what are you going to say to that? I'm no good, nobody loves me. What are you going to say to that? Write it down.
Special.
Hashem loves me.
Hashem loves me, I'm special.
It's really like, if you're having a doubt, you go back to the Creator and you say, hi, this is, Rabbi Nachman says, any doubt, fear, anger, hatred of the self, or whatever it is, it's fallen from the supernal wisdom. So if I'm having fear, that means it's a fallen fear from God. So you go back to Hashem and say, Hashem, I need you to protect my heart. And right now I feel like I'm pushing the blessing that is coming my way with two hands because I feel fear or a lack of trust. And so you sit with yourself and you talk to that part and you tell that part, it's safe to trust, and I'm safe to trust myself. I'm safe that I intuitively know what is good and what is not good for me. And you're relearning how to trust yourself in this whole process.
Right, that's beautiful.
You also have to go really deep, and if you're having those thoughts, you have to think, why am I thinking these things? And maybe someone said something to you or did something to you a few years ago, and remembering, it's like, just because that person was mean to me and told me that I didn't have friends or something, it doesn't mean that that's true at all,
Very good. So that's something that I recommend, the work by Katie. What's her name? Katie, maybe you know him. Her, the work. And she says to say, is it true? When you have any of these doubts, is it absolutely true? How do you know that that's true? Katie Byron. Didn't you hear about her? Look her up. She has a whole thing for how to answer these kind of voices.
Is she related?
She's not Jewish, but if you look at a picture of her, her eyes are so clear, like blue eyes, and they're you could see that she has a spark. Okay? And so there's truth to there's many different ways. That's one way. I'm not saying only that. But at some point, there was some point that I was, working with that a bit. So that's one thing. But ultimately, you ask that and you ask Hashem, and Hashem will speak back to you. But I'm also suggesting to but it depends on the person. There's many different ways. If someone like I like to write, so you write this thing that comes up, and you write your counterclaim, and then you know when you write it, so it will be more natural for you to remember it once this voice comes up. How do I know that's true? Other people said this. That was one person in the past, 5 years ago. But the last 2 years, many people have said, wow, I really enjoy being with you. You're so sweet. You're so kind. I enjoy your company. So why do I have to only remember this? And you have to say that in your mind. Now, so that if you like to write down, that's one way. Another way is just speak to Hashem and get Hashem to speak back to you. There's many different ways. So now I do want to add to what you say. You have to ask yourself. So we added already. You have to ask Hashem. But I also believe, and this is from Chabad, that I take with me. I'm eclectic from whoever's the good stuff that different branches of Judaism that I come across from different branches of Judaism. I'm not limited to one. So here in Chabad they say every person should have a mentor and a mashpia, and I think that's really important, especially if you're going through a lot of stuff and you're metamorphosing, you're changing, you're looking for yourself, you're finding yourself. So to have a mentor like a rabbi or a Rebbetzin, and to have a mashpia is more like a big sister. Okay? So somebody, it could be a fellow student, a madricha, a dom mother, but to have somebody. Because maybe a rabbi and a Rebbetzin doesn't have time for you to talk about everything for hours, but maybe also the madricha doesn't have time, but more available. Okay, someone that's someone that's more available, that is more just closer to you and to your situation, just one step up, that they can help you, pull you up, because both is like a rope. You need to hold on to a rope that someone else is holding to the other side, and Hashem, Hashem is certainly doing that. If you hold on to the rope that you're connected with Hashem, and Hashem will pull you up. But sometimes you need to get to that place, also a mentor and a mashpia. Mashpia means an influencer, like a big sister. And I really believe in that. And a friend, also a friend. It says in Pirkei Avot, עשה לך חבר, make yourself a friend. And now, going back to the question about what do I do about men. So, I personally do not think, I know not everyone is in that place, but I'm going to say my opinion since this question was asked me. I don't recommend have a friend of the other sex. Okay, now that we're talking about having a friend. Because it gets confusing. Like a lot of people say, oh, we're just friends, there's nothing romantic here. But before I was religious, I had a lot of friends that were girls and boys. In Denmark, it's you guys, it's no separation at all. We all get together. I used to have parties in my cellar, in my parents' villa, and I lived in a cellar, and I would have parties, and boys and girls came, and we'd do things together, and we'd talk, and I had good friends that really I was not attracted to. They were not my boyfriends in any way. Actually, I like the company of guys because I like the way they think. I think more in some way, more abstract, more like a guy. So I like to talk with guys. But now I've seen, since I became religious, when I had friends that were guys in the past. So now I was married because I got religious, then I got married, boom, boom. And then, so a friend wanted to come visit from the past, Jewish friend, so he's visiting the two of us. He ends up spending more time with, that's the one that took the picture of my husband and I that everybody likes that you saw there when we were just newly married. Mm-hmm. That's on my wall, next to the door, to the entrance. So he was a friend that from my school, from my elementary school. And he came to visit us in Israel when we were just married, and he also became a photographer, and he took that picture of us. So anyway, so it worked out, but I said, no, it's not like I'm going to go out with an old friend for coffee, like an old friend that happens to be male, that I'm a married woman, for sure not, But even if I wasn't married, after I became religious, I don't recommend it because it's confusing. Because that every normal man and woman, there's naturally some kind of attraction there, if you're normal. There are deviations. But in general, there can become some kind of attraction if you are in certain situations with them. And so that's why the Torah gives you boundaries, not to be in those situations. And if there's attraction, then it's confusing, And that's why there's a lot of infidelity in the world, which is very sad. And there's also a lot of confusing among single people. Well, I feel, does he like me? Does he want to marry? Does he doesn't? Well, you didn't date to marry. So we don't know. Maybe he just wants a one night with you, even though he says he's religious and he wears a kippah. It doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he just wants to kiss and hug, but he's not ready to commit. How do you know? If you're not dating to marry, so you're making a clear statement, I'm only seeing men to marry. Or if it's business. What were you going to say, Bella?
Yeah, to make the intention clear from the get-go. Just make the intention clear. Why do you want to talk to me? Why do you want, what's going on? What's your intention?
Yeah, because if you meet somebody, let's say at a party. Okay, I did meet my husband at a Shabbat table.
But that's not a party.
No, but it was a Shabbat table with a couple, a family, and then there was some boys from the yeshiva and some girls from the yeshiva. It was kind of obvious that it was if someone was going to ask me out and my husband asked me, hey, can I walk you home? I didn't really know. I was really young. And then, okay, sure. So I really didn't know what the intention was, but he knew. He had it very clear. He was a bit older than me, and he was looking for someone to marry. So it worked out. I really didn't know in the beginning.
Your husband said when he was invited to the thing, he said, are there any girls you want to invite? He said, what about the pretty girl from Denmark?
You heard he talk about that?
He told me that yesterday.
Okay, and at a Shabbos, and I was, where was I when he said that? Okay. Okay, I don't remember that. I was doing the dishes maybe. Anyway, so that's what happened. So he knew, but I didn't. But I kind of, a little bit, because that's how the atmosphere is in the yeshiva. Everyone was getting married, So, but if you meet someone, I don't know, where would you meet someone? At a music festival, let's say. Mixed music festival. And you meet someone, wow, he's cool. and you talk, and he gives you attention, and he smiles, and he flirts, and you flirt a little bit back because you're kind of, it's normal. We're normal people. You're a little bit flattered that the way he looks at you, and that feels good. That's a little bit like a hug on your ego. It's normal. And then okay, so what's the next step after that? If that happens, what do?
Get married.
So no, you don't get it. What do? You're gonna have. So what do you say? What will you do next? Let's say you're interested in this guy, and you get the feeling he's interested in you.
And he gets my number.
And do you give him your number? That's number one.
Do I give my number? I would say I'm really enjoying talking to you and blah blah blah. If he asks for my number, I'd be like, what is your my intention is, when I talk to men, my intention is to date them for marriage. I'm not sure where your intention holds, but if you're on the same boat, then I would be glad to give you my number.
Okay, well that's very mature. If you're in that place and you could do that, that's good. But for some people that are younger, maybe they want to first, or some people that are more ready, they want to say, I'm not ready to give my number yet. Why don't you give me a number of someone who knows you, and then that knows you, and then I'll look into it. That's the way it is.
That's how you date?
What? But yeah, because you want to. A lot of people, they do a lot of checking. I think they do too much checking. Okay.
Too much checking.
And sometimes. What do you say, Rachel?
Can I share about my experience?
Yeah, please.
I think having someone be in between is the biggest.
Can you come up here maybe? Because I think you're going to say some words of wisdom. Come. No, not just for the camera. It's because otherwise I have to repeat everything because they can't hear it over there.
Just a third.
Okay, so I think you're going to say something good, so I want to have you up there.
Okay, in my personal opinion.
And just say your background, so for the people online.
Grew up in Ohio, moved to New York.
No, but in terms of your religion, your Jewish background.
Grew up religious, left religion age 14, came back age 18. Strong breast love nanach. Yeah, listen, that's where we're at. Thank you, Hashem. My experience is that we're Jews and we're very lucky because there's a system called shidduch dating. When I used to hear that word, I was like, no, I'm never going to do that. Never going to make a shidduch resume. Still will never make a shidduch resume. That's my personal thing. But having somebody in between, that's what shidduch means. Having someone that's in between you guys. And it's the best thing in the world. It's the best thing. You should all take advantage of it. I have something I want to say. I have something I want to know about the boy, whatever. All of a sudden, I have someone in between. There's a lot of lack of communication that comes with texting and calling. And it's very new, and you're very new to the person, so you're super judgy of them and everything they do, and why do he text it this way, why do he say it like that way, but I'm feeling like this, oh no, he didn't say it in the right way, he sent this emoji, not that emoji. All these things will totally throw you off. So if you have a person in between, they make it very clear, very boundaries, it's very tachlis, it's like a mentor in a way. Yeah, and it's to the point. Why are we here? We're here to marriage. We're here to marry, not to be just talking about random things and going on random dates. So all the dates are going towards that. So when you go out with the person, you can ask the shadchan, what do you think about this? What should we talk about next time? Obviously it's between you and the person, but you have someone in between that can guide you. And it's it's kind of like a channel for Hashem. You ask Hashem, give this person clarity to guide us. Help us. It's like having a tzaddik in our generation. Obviously it's just between you and Hashem. Obviously it's just between you and the person at the end of the day. But you have the tzaddik to guide you. That you have the tzaddik to help you, show you which way to go, how to make the connection to the person. Because people are complicated. And in my experience, it's the best thing in the entire world. And yeah, thank you, Hashem. And even now, thank God, I'm dating. And
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
It's the same one?
It's somebody. And we don't, we only call on the phone. We don't text. And we don't say, hey, how's it going? La la. We say, okay, when are you available? Da da da. We're going to meet at this and this time. We save all the talking from we're together. All the talking.
In person.
Yeah. Because we're not about that. Listen, be Hasidish, everyone. It's the way. I'm telling you.
The Ramadan should go well, and we should have good news soon, in the right time. So I think that is very beautiful. I knew you were going to say something like that, and I think it's very beautiful. It's not necessarily suitable for everyone. Right, but it's beautiful when it's suitable. It's suitable mostly for people who grew up religious.
I loved it. It was
Yeah, and I think but also for other people that didn't grow up religious.
Yeah.
Yes, Diana.
So, are you talking about an official shadchan or like a friend?
No, I didn't
Who
go to
is
shop and
introduced
say.
you?
No, it was a friend. Like, you know the woman who comes here sometimes to learn with her baby?
Mm-hmm.
So I just talked to her sometimes, and I was like, whenever I just tell her about myself, and then she's like, oh, are you looking to marry? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, let me think of ideas for you. Like, I didn't go to official.
Okay.
I think that's a last call stretch.
So there's many also ways to have that work, but it depends on the person. Like what Peter Bella shared was like very mature. Like if you're in a place that you feel like you don't need that in between, that is possible, and you could say, if that's what you want. But on the other hand, maybe a person will say that, sure, that's what I want, because maybe he wants something else, but he knows if he says that something else, you're not going to give him your number. Okay, so the good thing about having someone help check into that, speak with his friend, speak with his mentor, and you will know, is he an honest person? Is he, does he share your life goals? Or like these things that are important for you, you have some deal breakers, don't have too many, but whatever deal breaker you have, you can ask the person that knows him without and then you'll know for sure, rather than, yes?
Also, when in my experience of what you were saying about asking so many questions and finding out from so many people, calling all the friends, you start to build up this whole reality of who the person is before you even actually meet them. And then when you meet them, you have all these imaginations in there. Oh, but I thought they were like this because that person said like that. So of course, you if it gets more serious, maybe you want to talk to people that are close to them to find out okay, is there anything I should really know about this person? Well, in the beginning, going fresh, going open-minded.
I agree. I think that, yeah, go ahead, Esther. You want to come up here?
I was just gonna-
But I agree that too much checking, and in my opinion, you should not check until you meet the person once. At least once or twice. Because it's some people really do a lot of checking, from more ultra-Orthodox circles. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a whole detective work, okay, for some people, which I think is a bit exaggerated. And then the couple meet that are not a couple. Then the young man and young woman meet, and they're no. And I don't like waste. So there's a lot of wasted time. People could spend hours until you get someone on the phone even. They could spend hours on this. So let them meet at least one time. It's the reason why they want to do checking before they meet, because they don't want the young people to be so that it'll be so hard to separate if it's not suitable. But after one meeting, it's not so hard to separate. But after you already know the person for 3 months, and then you find out some very unsettling information about the person, but you're already emotionally attached to this person. You're used to. I know people that they don't know. They know they're never going to marry this person. They're dating, but they can't stop the date, because who am I going to talk to about all my problems? It became someone that I could talk to, but I can't live with him I'm not going to marry him, but I don't have someone else to talk about all these things. And I'm got used to, having someone in my life. I'm going to be so lonely if I just say no. And so that person is hanging there, cannot get married. She's blocking finding the right person because she's still attached to the wrong person. So that is a really sad thing. That's why it is important to have other people that, help check out what kind of person he is and if he's somebody that is suitable for what you're looking for before you get emotionally attached. But after one meeting, I don't think you'll get emotionally attached. And that's my, that's my recommendation. I mean, this is no law. Everybody can do what they want, and they can do their own thing without an intermediary if they feel more comfortable with that. I didn't have. My husband walked me home, and he said, can I walk you can we take a walk another time? And so I said, sure. I had a good time. I wasn't so mature. I said, sure. And then, anyway, some of the people in the family said, oh, the doctor, he's very special, this and that. So I didn't have to check anything out. People, the one who had us for Shabbos, they came and talked to me. But then I just tell you that, and then I'll get to Deanna. I was 19, right? So I got engaged finally. Very long dating because it was a lot. And my mom, who usually she cannot get vacation at that time, vacation from her job until a year in advance. She has to look for vacation. She flew in. Yeah, that's what she complained later she flew in to check him out after I got engaged because we didn't have a thing that he asked my father for my hand and all those sweet rituals that I think are really sweet, but I don't think we had that. So she flew in to check him out because she was not really trusting that I made a wise decision. I was 19. She was happily surprised, and she really liked him, and Baruch Hashem. Now, Deanna, you want to come up?
No. Not for this. What questions should you ask when you're checking? Because I've heard about this type of system, but I don't know how personal. Like, are you checking like, hey, friend, is he a good person? Like, does he smoke? Does he?
So Bella has a whole list here.
I have a whole list. You want to know the person is healthy, so you check if he's on any medication, if he's mentally stable, what's his if he has any friends that he knows over 5 years, you get in contact with them and ask them what's your experience with your friend? Did you live with him? Is he a dirty person? Is he an organized person? Is he responsible? Does he pay rent on time? If he lived on his own and he lived with people, you would want to know what it means. Let's say somebody calls about me to you. Mm-hmm. You live with me. You see how I am with the kitchen, your cleanliness, my discipline. So you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, she always does her dishes.
Yeah, if we lived in the same room, maybe it would be, Bella's like this, Bella's like that. So you want someone that really knows him. So you have Bina for reference. Right, we're not in the same room, but everybody here experiences me. For example, if somebody calls you about me in a specific way, so you have a specific experience with me, right? So if we go on vacation, Bella's A B C D E F G, same thing with the guy. So you want to know what's his relationship with his parents like. I remember being engaged 2 years ago, and in the middle of my engagement, the guy that I was engaged to, he told me he's struggling with his relationship with his mom, but I didn't realize how deep the struggle was until he was on the phone with his mom. His mom was trying to get me an engagement ring, and he starts yelling at her, "Mom, what the flip, da da da," and I was like, this man is not normal. So if I did my more thorough, whatever, I would have understood, okay, this man is not a healthy person. So that also is an indicator. You'll see. You know what I'm saying?
Just ask Hashem.
And you also...
But that's important to check before to avoid broken engagement. And we learn from experience, and then we be more careful. Yeah. And so we have to kind of wrap up. So I do want to talk about other things than dating for marriage, like what I do about men. That was the question. What should I do about men? So obviously you can have... in my opinion, I'm saying my opinion. Obviously there's laws in the Torah what you cannot do about men, and we talked about that before. And there's also the laws of yichud, which you're not allowed, which we mentioned briefly. You're not allowed to be alone with a man in a secluded place where there's not other people that may come and butt in. Okay, so that's what you should not do about men. But if you do have, I said the other thing was business. What does that mean? Someone is coming to fix a leak in your bathroom. Okay? So, yes, he has to knock on the door, and you have to know when he's coming. He shouldn't just come without first writing you a message. And you should be dressed, obviously, all these things. But that's what I call business. We're not living in a world that's only one sex in that world. We have interactions with men that are for a beneficial purpose. We need a service that we need, or we're giving a service. We could also be, be giving a service that men also receive that is allowed. Depends what the service is, not necessarily massage service.
Oh gosh.
Like, you know.
I mean, if he's a married man, you could say, I am a massage therapist and I could totally give your wife a massage session.
Right, but there's some people are not strict with that, but I don't recommend that.
What?
They will say, well, that's professional, but I think that's too intimate.
No, I wouldn't. No,
Yeah, and you're a massage therapist. I know now, I agree with what you said, but there are some massage therapists that say, it's professional, I can give men and women a massage.
No.
But like, right, so that's obvious. So it depends what the profession is. But you're gonna do another job for them. You're gonna be a babysitter for a single husband with kids, and you're gonna take the kids out, let's just say. So, and he's paying you. It's a professional thing. So you have to discuss about the kids. They ate this, they did this. You know, I'm just throwing out some crazy example. You know, you need to talk to the father about it. Or now another example is you have sons and they go to school, and the teacher is the Rebbe. So your son has a problem or there's a question, you have to talk to the Rebbe about your child. So many times you have to interact with men, which is totally professional and nothing to do with romantic. And it's very clear that it doesn't have to do with that. It's this fuzzy zone, the gray zones where it's not clear and it's important to make clear boundaries. And so, I have a lot to have. Besides my husband and my sons, I have to interact with men about all kinds of things. And I was just telling Julia today that there was a man, I'm almost borderline for me, because when I go on my tours, I'm not with my husband, so I'm very careful. But there was a man that came to my class in 2010 in a Kabbalah day that the Carlbach Shul was putting up. And I gave a class from Chava to the Mother of Mashiach, and he loved it. There was a mixed class, which I asked Rav Daniel, and he said that was allowed. So that's also what you do then. It was allowed. So he came to my class, and since then he's been like a fan of mine, and he's been supporting Beirut, and probably he's going to come now 16 years after, hopefully, if he can. He's a married man, he has a wife. His wife is busy, she's a professor in university. She's not so into going to Torah classes, doesn't have time. But she's like fine, and I even stayed in their house, because they live right next to the Carlbach Shul. And they're very hospitable, and I also got to know the wife, and I try not to like hang out with him by myself. It's not, I don't feel comfortable with that, But I do communicate with him on the email. He has a question about my blog or about something like that. Or let's say, he's also a donor. And any donor, that's a professional relationship. Right. It's clear, he's married, I'm married, and we keep the boundaries clear. But we're talking about something that has nothing to do with anything that could go into the, did I call it fluffy zone, gray zone, fuzzy zone? Do you want to say something, Esther?
No, I'm just playing.
Okay, so we have to kind of end now. So you can interact with men not for marriage, if it's for professional reason. Mm-hmm. Okay, and but make sure to make the boundaries clear. And so that's all we got to do today. But we had fun. I didn't prepare anything, so that's good. Okay, all the best. Have a good break, and hopefully see you soon again. In the next class, please. Next class, I'm here. And I plan to start it in time with Megillat Esther. And meeting for all.